Good afternoon, Dean Veloso, Dean Stabile, distinguished speakers, esteemed faculty, friends, family, and most importantly, the class of 24D. On behalf of Annabel and myself, it is a tremendous honor to stand before you as your co-presidents of the Student Council. We know you've all absolutely loved receiving our constant messages and announcements on WhatsApp this year, so from the very bottom of our hearts, thank you for allowing us the privilege of standing on stage to bother you one final time.
How crazy to think that we are standing here on the graduation stage today. We made it. It feels just yesterday that we took our first steps into the INSEAD MBA, unsure of what the next 12 months would bring, but filled with hope for what they could bring. Separated by an ocean on 2 campuses in Singapore and Fontainebleau, each half of our class began our journeys wondering, how much can really happen in 1 year?
As it turns out, quite a lot. In those early months, even as a class split up across the world, we found commonality in our experiences, mirrors of one another on opposite sides of the world.
We braved the freezing forests of Fontainebleau and the blazing humidity and ferocious mosquitoes of Kusu Island in Singapore, all in the name of personal leadership and development. Though what we developed wasn't just personal leadership, as much as it was a mild PTSD every time we heard the phrase, "It's all in the system," or "How does that make you feel?"
We wrestled with the infamous Z curve, fervently convincing each other to tone down our ambitions just so we can all survive another exam. Though, in the immortal words of Professor Anil Gaba, it was really quite middle class of us to do so.
Wednesday traditions flourished on both campuses. Come rain, snow, or sunshine, you could always find members of our class in Mekano in Fontainebleau or C'est la Vie in Singapore.
We found the luckiest man in Singapore, Thomas, who was picked up by INSEADers on New Year's Eve and somehow got to enjoy all the benefits of the INSEAD experience while keeping 100,000 euros in his bank account. Through P1 and P2, each half of our class even found their own beloved Mimis, where we forged bonds over rugby socials and the ever-notorious Soju Sundays.
Together but apart, we dashed to campus in costumes, shared our stories at cultural festivals and intimate dinners, and of course, who could forget how we witnessed the Lebanese attempt to resolve every existing global political crisis, one targeted cultural mixer at a time.
Then, as P3 brought the 2 halves of our class together, life at INSEAD only accelerated. Together, we embraced time-honored traditions while creating our own. We danced under the stars at the summer ball, otherwise known as INSEAD's greatest ever marketing ploy to ensure our attendance at the 5-year reunion, which, credit where credit is due, I think it really worked. So we'll see you all at the Chateau de Fontainebleau in 2029.
Orange INSEAD became a space where we shared our most vulnerable and powerful stories, forging connections deeper than we imagined possible. This tradition, started by the 24Js, has been lovingly passed down and nurtured by Amit and Eitan. It was a pleasure hearing so many of your insightful and touching stories from people's lives. Long may this tradition continue at INSEAD.
As we did everything from pre-gaming at Tardeo to wrestling each other in BORs for victory in Assassin's Sead, it became clear that life at INSEAD can best be described as a whirlwind of choices and trade-offs that we were constantly forced to make. Between classes, trips, recruiting, and yes, to the parents in the room, even the occasional homework assignment, which I promise you we did do from time to time, though almost all of us have been accused of not doing any actual work in the MBA this year based on the Instagram stories we've been posting.
And on top of all of this, life as it was before INSEAD still didn't stop, at least not fully. For those of us who made it through while balancing engagements, weddings, babies, or even launching new businesses, we salute you. The rest of us only just managed to take care of ourselves. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. We could stand here for hours to reminisce over all the moments that made 2024 special. But as we graduate today, we want to take a moment not to just recap the year, but to truly reflect on it.
Most of us will look back on 2024 as the year we did our MBAs. And yet, it's also difficult to forget that this year unfolded against the backdrop of a world grappling with war, political division, market strains, and continuing recovery from a global pandemic. We have been gifted this year with the ability to distract ourselves from all of this while we thrived in the INSEAD bubble. And yet I know many of us are also aware that after today, that bubble will be no more, and the reality we enter back into is one that may look very different from the one that we left. INSEADers are good at many things, but if there's one thing we tend to struggle with collectively, it's the notion of change, uncertainty, and the unknown. But I would remind all of us that though the world has changed, so too have we. We are no longer the same individuals that we were on January 1st. We've grown together, found new connections and friendships, built our resilience, and challenged ourselves every single day. Because of our experiences here, our challenges, our friendships, and our triumphs, we are now so much better prepared for the uncertainty of everything that comes next.
So, how much can happen in 12 months? As it turns out, everything can happen. The future will always be a great unknown, but let me assure you, we are ready. Ready to lead with integrity, to embrace complexity, and to create change in the world. Ready for everything that lies ahead. And before we part ways, Steph and I would like to say thank you.
To the faculty who inspired us, the PLDP coaches who guided us, and the CDC advisors who endured our existential recruiting crises.
To our partners, families, and loved ones who made sacrifices to allow us to spend this year the way we did. You supported us when we doubted ourselves, reminded us to eat, and celebrated our wins alongside us.
To our amazing student council, Nan, Anurag, Danny, Badi, Izzy, Andrew, Lexi, Neha, Bomsik, and Will, we are so grateful for all the hard work that you've put in and for the friendships that we formed as a result. And a special mention also must go out to Sarah Jane, who supported Lexi's work on our beautiful yearbook, a memento we'll surely treasure for years to come.
To all the club leaders who allowed us to thrive in interests from sports to music, and yes, even wine, so they could thrive at INSEAD.
And finally, but obviously not least of all, thank you to you, our classmates. Each one of you has left a unique mark on this journey, from the laughter we've shared to the late nights that we will never forget, and maybe some that we wish we could forget. This year would not have been the same without each and every one of you. It has been an absolute honor to serve as your co-presidents. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be a part of your INSEAD journey and for building our legacy together.
As we close this chapter of our lives, let's carry forward the spirit of INSEAD, one of curiosity, collaboration, and a deep belief in our ability to make a difference. This isn't the end, this is just the beginning. So we made it, and we are ready for the future. Let's go out there and make it ours. Congratulations to the one and only class of INSEAD 24D.
Thank you both, and thank you to the entire council for all of your leadership and engagement this year. You, the 24Ds, voted for your class speaker. Can I ask Natalie Talil to come up and give her class address?